Hey folks, it's Dr. Brenda, founder of the Gutsy Women Club, where women dare to dream and take bold actions to follow their heart's journey. Hey, please subscribe below. If you are already subscribing, thanks so much. Please pass this YouTube channel along to all your friends. Today, I am really excited because I have a special guest and a friend, Becky Mosbrucker. And Becky is an empowerment and awareness coach. She lives in my, I guess, adopted state of Virginia. And now that I'm RVing all over the country, I live everywhere, but certainly I've got a fondness for Virginia. And Becky is the owner of Forward Safety Training. And I think it's about time, guys, that we talk about safety. And a couple of things are that I'm going to talk about, and Becky is going to talk about non-lethal options. Okay, so we're not going to talk about the firearms issue. If you do go that route, that is something that you really do have to be trained on. If you're gonna go that route. So we're going to talk a little bit about. Becky's going to give us some safety tips. We're going to talk about pepper spray and see where this goes. All right. So welcome, Becky. Thank you so much for being here. So can you give us a little bit of background on who you are, what you do, and how you became interested in all the safety empowerment issues?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Brenda. I love being here. I start off telling everybody that this whole idea is my daughter's fault. She was getting a criminal justice degree, and we went to a class together that was kind of an extra credit class for her, and really led me into women's safety and making sure that women know how to use certain aspects of what's out there to their advantage. And also, just making sure that they are safe and they are being trained by somebody who knows what they're talking about. So I've been teaching safety for almost 30 years, but in the last 6 years, it's been mainly the women. The women is what I'm focusing on, because when I started taking training, I could hardly find any women trainers out there at all. I was shocked. It was all men, and that's fine. But for what I wanted, there were not a lot of women to be had. So it really jump-started me into getting trained myself and then teaching others. And I do both. I do lethal and non-lethal. I cover the spectrum. But more importantly, I think right now is our mindset. Like, where are we? We need to get settled with this whole pandemic issue. Everybody's been upset about that for 1.5 years now. Totally understandable. But it's, been here, it's gone, the new strain is out, it's still here. Like, what are we going to do to better ourselves? So let's kind of change that focus. Let's make it a positive spin. And during this time that we're either at work or not at work or part-time at work or whatever we're doing at home, or lucky to be RVing. I wish I was doing that more often. But I think we just need to change our mindset, find out what we can do, find out the positive things we can do, and work from there. So I've been teaching for a while, but more recently just, into teaching women how to be safe and what kinds of things they can do to protect themselves.
Terrific. All right. So we are, we've got a bunch of women RVers out there. A lot of us are alone, not everyone. And so we may be out hiking on trails that seem a bit deserted. I'm guilty of that all the time. And then we're in our RVs. We've got boondockers out there who might be boondocking in the national forest on their own or in a private area. We've got folks who stay in state parks. We've folks who stay in RV resorts. So we've got a mixed bag, but for women, it kind of comes with the territory that we have to think about our safety much more than a man does. So I'd love for you to give us 3 safety tips. Start with number 1. and we'll talk about it, and then we'll see what else we've got. So number one safety tip is,
Be aware of your surroundings.
okay, excellent.
Which means if it doesn't feel right, don't go there. If it's too dark and you're by yourself, don't start out on a trail at dusk. You should be finishing your trail and getting back to your camper, tent, whatever it is. Last thing you want to do is be on a trail at night by yourself. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But if you are, sorry, go ahead.
So the instinct part, I think, is important. So I remember I was at a campground in Texas, and one of the things that I'm not too keen on is that they'll slap, I'm in the park and they'll put something on my car. This was something I had to tape to my windshield, and it gave my, it's got the park identification. It has my site, it has my checkout date. And I remember going to a grocery store and I just got freaked out. It's like, okay, there's a guy in the passenger seat right next to me, and serial killer. I don't know, it just went through my head. And I thought, he's got all that information there. So, I take that information down. If I have to retape it, if they have to retape it, I don't care, but I don't want that information displayed. So I think, what you said that really resonates me with is just, if it doesn't feel right, your head, your mind, you might say, well, you're just being paranoid. Go with your gut instinct.
Yep. I have a whole class I teach just on that whole principle. There's much more detail to it, but absolutely yes. Anything that identifies you, your vehicle, where you're staying, how many people are in your site, any of that, I would take it down, move it, hide it, whatever you got to do. People who drive around my town and they have the little stickers of the kids and like the mom, 3 kids, it drives me crazy. Don't tell everybody you have 3 children.
Yeah. And they tell them what school they're going to.
Yes. I'm glad you have a grade A student at some school. School,
exactly.
but don't put it on your car.
No, exactly. No.
There are no labels on my car whatsoever. There never have been, but my husband has some stickers on his car, and I'm even like, no, you got no.
Yeah.
You come down.
So number one is be aware of your surroundings, but also go on that instinct. So what's your second tip?
Be a people watcher. Now, this is pretty easy. A lot of people are people watchers. You like to see what kind of things they're wearing and what they're doing and that kind of thing. But I'm focusing on watch their faces, look at their eyes, like make eye-to-eye contact. And that's not normal, especially for someone that you feel that gut instinct is like, I don't know about this guy, like you were saying. The reason why you should make eye contact with them is because once they realize that you have identified them, you might not any longer be their next victim, because now you can identify the clothes they are wearing. And I play games with my grandkids all the time. What color shirt did that guy have on? What are the color of his tennis shoes? And they try to turn and look, and I'm like, no. You need to practice doing this when you're walking through Walmart or the grocery store or any parking lot. Get it in your head. What does this person look like? It doesn't always have to be a man. It can certainly be a woman. They work in pairs a lot. Identify the clothing. Identify how tall you think he is. How much do you think he weighs? Does he have any tattoos on his neck? Because they've all got tattoos on their necks now, and whatever. Any identifying marks, look for those. And the only way you can look for those, especially if they're on their neck, is to look at their face, right? So you are making eye-to-eye contact, which I never liked doing in the past. I would walk by somebody, just keep my head down, just keep on going. Nope. You are very likely to be someone they are interested in, because you are not paying any attention whatsoever to what they are doing or what they look like. So you can't identify them if you had to.
I like your idea of sort of turning it into a game, because the idea of a memory is something that we practice. And so that's a really good way to keep our memory sharp. And you know, sometimes when I'm driving my RV, it's like, oh gosh, it feels like, especially out west, like you've got hours and hours and it's like you're looking at the same landscape and you get a little bit bored. So sometimes I play games with trying to remember a license plate number. Okay, that's a Ford Taurus, it's red and it's Florida plate and blah, 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 blah. So sometimes I do that just to keep myself alert and to remind myself to do things like that.
Good
Excellent
plan.
advice. Okay, number 3, what you got for us?
Keep your doors locked. And I mean house, car, RV, anything, all the time, daytime, obviously nighttime. Check every lock, every door, every window. Make sure they stay locked. And that sounds crazy for the daytime, but there have been so many burglaries reported in broad daylight. These people don't care anymore if it's dark at night. They will break into your house anytime they want. If they think you have something they want, it doesn't matter. My ex-husband actually had his apartment broken into in broad daylight on a very busy street. They just kicked in the front door. Nobody reported it. Nobody saw anything, nothing. They don't care. These people are just out for whatever they want. So as soon as I come in the house, my door gets locked immediately. My purse
Right,
upstairs. I don't keep the purse by the front door or briefcase or anything that has any keys to your cars or any of that. Don't set them on a table by the front door at all. If there's a table there, you might want to put flowers there, but don't put anything else. Don't have a place where you hang keys right on a hook right inside your front door. It's too easy, way too easy.
So for women who are RVing and, maybe they've got a house or maybe they're like me in full-time RVing. So one of the things that I do is I also lock my windows, but part of this is trying to balance your safety with the way you want to RV. So for women who are boondocking and maybe off grid, maybe they've got to keep their windows and doors open to get a breeze in there, which is, of course, goes against everything that you've just said. And when they're gone, a lot of people travel with pets too. So it's like, how do I make sure that I keep my pet comfortable and safe? So for me, one of the reasons I choose state parks is because I have neighbors around me. And so generally your camping community, they're pretty friendly. I'll introduce myself, say hello, and hopefully they'll be alert to something going on. But with the whole RV thing, I think a lot of people, especially the weekenders, maybe let their guard down. And so maybe they don't lock the RV doors when they're gone, the car doors when it's in front of the RV. Any thoughts on that?
The only other thing I would say would be maybe to have like a Ring doorbell or some kind of a camera system that you can record people walking up to your vehicle or up to your, RV. So at least you can identify them coming into your space that way if you're not there. You can also get things like trip lights. So at night you could set a light so that it goes off if somebody trips the brake in that light. Now, if you have pets and they're walking around, that, they might trip that light, but I can because we camp too. So I certainly understand that keeping the doors and windows open, but when we leave the campground, everything is locked up. So
yeah.
The Ring doorbell or some kind of doorbell system, I think is an awesome idea. At least
Yes.
buy them.
Yeah. Yep. I do have a Ring doorbell. It has only gone off once in the middle of the night. I think I was in Illinois and I had, and it recorded. So it went off. I could see what was going on. And I was right next to a bicycle trail and it was 2 a.m. and some guys were walking their bicycle and they got within the range of the ring, but I had it recorded. In fact, somebody said, well, maybe they were stealing bikes. And so I asked the campground if there were any bikes missing, but I had that recording, so I could have handed it over to the police if that was the case. but I do
That's
love the
good.
Ring doorbell. Yeah, absolutely. That is great advice. And I have a feeling that you could probably go on and on and on for the rest of the morning because you're so full of information and knowledge. And I know how much you want to help women. But I want to do a little segue here because I want to talk about pepper spray. So I think I have like three different versions of pepper spray. Now, I've never had to use pepper spray. But I do carry it when I'm hiking. This one, which I purchased from you, is really handy because it fits in my little fanny pack. So I can tuck it into a little pocket so I can easily find it. But talk to us a bit about using pepper spray, when to use it, how to use it, and just, give us a little bit of an overview of this particular, it's a tool. That's what it is. It's a self-protection tool.
It is a tool in your toolbox. Now you can use a lot of different tools. You can use hammers if you have to. I mean, you should have some kind of item to use if you need it. It doesn't have to be pepper spray, but anyway, the pepper sprays are really good. Now you will hear stories of people saying people who eat peppers often, it doesn't work as well. That's not true. The Scoville units of the peppers that they use in these pepper sprays is so high that it will put them sprayed yourself or had watched a video of like police officers have to go through the training and get pepper sprayed. It is pretty interesting to watch them on the floor screaming in pain. Believe me, this stuff hurts. So my main focus for you would be there are different sizes of pepper sprays. So if you use the little one that you just showed, if you ever have to use it in an actual attack, that's more like a one-time only deal. It's not refillable. And if you have to deploy it, you should keep your thumb on the button and keep spraying. And you spray side to side and you're spraying like in their eyes and around their nose, right? Because as soon as they inhale it, their nose is also burning and their eyes are burning and everything is burning. So if they are on the ground screaming in pain, your goal is to get away from these people, right? You're not supposed to be kicking them and stabbing them and beating the tar out of them. You're supposed to be trying to get away after you have sprayed somebody.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about, I mean, they all come with sort of the safety clip where if I'm walking, I can't spray it right now.
Correct.
So I have to actually flip this switch. So for people who are unfamiliar with pepper spray, they might ask you how they prevent, spraying themselves or accidentally spraying it.
Yes, so they all have a locking mechanism, just like you were showing. And these white tips, locking mechanisms here, all glow in the dark. So if you need to find this at night, you're fumbling around and somebody's trying to get in, you can turn the mechanism, you can see it without having to turn a flashlight on. And then you'll unlock it and then you will hold it. And this one particular device has rivets in it, so you can actually put your hands around it so it doesn't slide off. And it also has a wrist band. You can actually put it around your wrist and hold on to it that way so it doesn't slide. So they come in different sizes and different formats, but the good thing about these is they do lock. You can actually see the little lever turn that way. So it does lock and you can turn it to unlock. And
so
if you
right. So the ones I have, like this one doesn't, neither of these have a band, but this one has a clip that I like to clip to my fanny pack. This one is small enough to fit inside a little pouch. Also has the clip.
Yes. They also make another one. So these I sell on my website. There's another version of this one that's kind of bigger. And it actually has a GPS tracker that goes with it. I really like that one. I carry that one all the time. If the app is free to download, and if you ever have to deploy it, it will send a message to up to 3 people in your contact list. And it will send a GPS coordinate of where you are. It will send a picture of your surroundings. and it sends a message that says, I need help. And then on the app on your phone, if you had whatever depressed it by accident or whatever, there's a I am safe button that you would push that, you know, would tell your family or whoever that your 3 people are that you are okay, you don't need any help, don't call the police kind of stuff. If you ever have to use that in an actual altercation, the company will replace your pepper spray absolutely for free.
That is pretty wild. Have
It is
you checked
awesome.
reviews to see
There is
people-
no other company out there that sells a pepper spray with that technology. That company that I sell for is it.
what's the cost of something like that?
That one, I believe, is $89.
Okay. Okay.
It is refillable. So it comes in kind of a canister about this size, and you can buy the refills that are inside the container. So you don't have to buy the whole entire container again, and you don't have to download the app again. Once you've got it downloaded, that's it. The other one, that other one actually comes with a wristband just like this, but it also comes with a pin that you insert into the bottom. This one is kind of a different pin, that if you pull the pin out, nobody can use it against you. So if you're struggling, you know, if you're holding one and you've got the wristband on and somebody's trying to pull it away from you, you know, and like turn it around and spray it on you, if you can pull your wrist back away from the pepper spray and break that chain, that little pin will come out of the bottom of the pepper spray and nobody can shoot it. You can't shoot it either, but whoever cannot use it against you.
Right, right.
Asking about that, like what happens if they turn it on me?
Right.
Pull your wrist out and get the pin out of the device. They cannot use it on you.
Wow. Yeah, it's I guess you have all kinds of options. Even pepper spray is not pepper spray anymore.
No, it's not anymore.
Wow. Wow. So in terms of carrying this, I mean, one of the challenges I have now when I'm out hiking, I've got my pack and you know, this clips on really nicely, but if I'm just walking around, I generally don't walk around with pepper spray in my hand. And I don't, you know, I'm not a purse type. I love pockets. I love fanny packs, but how, you know, in terms of transporting it or carrying it, you know, I want to be ready, but yet I don't want to live with pepper spray in my hand, you know?
So one thing I would tell you is a couple of things I should say. One thing you could do is wear something like a runner's glove. This is not glow in the dark, but you can see this at night, reflective. And you can put your pepper spray inside this little holder. This will hold pepper sprays, stun guns, Kubotans, whatever device you want to put in here. And then it is set just in exactly the right position for you to be able to use your thumb right on top of that pepper spray. And this comes in different styles and sizes and such. So I like this one. However, if you are shopping at a store and you don't want to walk around with this in your hand, you can certainly take this pepper spray out, right? It just slides right out. And then I would put it in my hand before I go to the car. Now, that makes me think of something real quick too, is about shopping is, you know, especially at Christmas time, people are like carrying like 5 and 6 bags of stuff and they got their hands full of bags. If your hands are full of bags, you don't have a hand free to do anything to stop somebody. So my suggestion for that would be, I hate to say make multiple trips, but make multiple trips. Don't have your hands so full that you can't drop your bags on the ground and say, hey, stay away from me, don't come any closer, you know, that kind of stuff. You always want to be able to have a hand free, if not both of them. So the pepper sprays, like you're talking about, I carry them in my pocket too, but as soon as I get out to the outside world and I'm ready to do some walking, because I walk a lot around my neighborhood, my glove goes on and my pepper spray stays in the middle and I just hide it with my hand shut. So not everybody sees it. You know, they might see a wrist strap, but they don't know what it's attached to.
Right, right.
So you might also want to get used to carrying that in your non-dominant hand, so that if you're carrying your car keys in your dominant hand, you want to be able to use this pepper spray with your other hand as well. So practice with both hands is what I'm saying.
That's interesting. I never thought about doing that. And I'm not a lefty, so it's like, oh, wrong. Okay. I'm going to have to do that, practice that this weekend.
Okay, good.
Okay. Well, this is really, really good information. Where can people get your stuff?
My website is Forward Safety Training. And if you go look at my store, it's called Shop at the top of my website.
Okay.
All kinds of stuff safety wise.
All right. Well, I am going to add that in the description of this YouTube video. And I hope you know, and if people have questions, can they ask you questions on that? Get your contact from that website.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. You can just email me at info@forwardsafetytraining.com. It's on my website.
Okay. Excellent. Wow. Well, you know what? I learned a couple of things. This has been absolutely wonderful. Do you have any final messages for our viewers?
Be cautious out there, ladies. Don't be upset about thinking if something feels bad, don't go there. Listen to your intuition. Your gut is telling you something and it is very right most of the time. Listen to it.
Excellent. Excellent. I totally agree. Well, thank you, Becky, for being on the show. Really appreciate it. And until next time, and hey, look in that description for a link to Becky's information, Becky's storefront, and be safe out there. Dr. Brenda, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.